Are you wondering how you can contribute to Funniest Thing?
Don't flip out. Go to patreon.com/funniest thing.
Whoa!
Oh!
That would have been crazy. Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Look at us, we're big boys.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from CHOBO Studios in
beautiful downtown Van Nuys.
Oh no, Indy's eating again.
Oh God. Something he found in the gutter in Van Nuys again. Hey, is there any way Sherry and Mike can climb over to your camera just to wave to us?
We have two longtime fans that knew us since we started the show almost 10 years, over 10 years ago.
They sent us shirts from Louisville that time.
Yes, there they are.
The best guest since the last one.
Oh,
right here.
There we go.
It is, Sherry and Mike. We love you.
And they're just joining us in the studio. They happen to be in town because their son lives right near Ed.
Nice, man. That guy lives in a beautiful spot overlooking the beach. He's the sweetest guy. We've had their daughter Rachel on the show years and years ago.
Yes, we did.
And we're just so happy they're there. They drove with me from my house over here, so that really helped me get in tune for the show. We got to check in with Darrell. They're just the most amazing people. I feel like they are my spiritual parents in a way. And
because they're nice to you.
I didn't say it, man, but I meant it. Indy, man, by the way, thank you for everything you do here at CHOBO Studios.
Yes.
How are you today?
Doing splendid. It's a beautiful day. How do you guys liking the TV? The new
That's
TV?
what I was just
Oh, my
going to
God.
look at this background, folks.
If you're not on YouTube, hop on Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed on YouTube. You can see the new CHOBO Studios backdrop, which is their logo. It's amazing,
Yeah,
man.
3 years in, we finally got a monitor for you guys.
Well, we love it and appreciate it. And I'm sure the people watching at home are going to be, holy cow, maybe this is a professional show after all.
Considering I was getting my students to draw the artwork for us in the past, this is an upgrade, man.
It's an upgrade.
Although we did love that the art from my student as well.
What's today's episode?
Today's episode is called Love the One You're With Lisa Schmidt from Lansing, Michigan. But who's the one you're with, Darrell?
To clear up to the end, it's yourself.
It's always you. It's always you. So criticizing yourself is not loving yourself, because our inner belief becomes our outer experience, and people take us at our own valuation, I might add.
Yes.
So let's join in fasting from self-criticism and start feasting on prosperous thinking. Stop making excessive demands upon yourself. Spend your time appreciating the good in your life. Success begins when we say kind things to ourselves. Let's see here. Success begins. Okay, we honor our God by loving ourselves. We honor God by loving ourselves. Wow, what a refreshing idea. On this episode, Darrell and Ed point to the one infinite principle being the law of cause and effect. Thankfully, it's weighted in our favor, right? It's the law, also the law of ever-increasing good. Simply put, we are to think of things which are of good report, and God will supply all of our needs.
It's that simple.
And, yeah, I learned the opposite yesterday. Wow. And during the second segment, I don't mean I learned the opposite. I learned the bad. I was clinging to the less than delightful end of that stick. It's
yes.
not the opposite.
Not
The principle is principle, but man, I got a spanking from my own thinking.
I got a great story, too, about last night when I woke up. Go ahead.
It's called About Last Night. And during the second segment, miracle-making Lisa Schmidt magnifies our good with today's reading. Begin.
So are we going to go into our 3 breaths before we do the member?
Why the heck
Because
not?
it's so good. Because this is really about not criticizing ourselves and also not buying into the criticism, or this is what I heard the other day. We learned critical thinking from people in the past who disapproved of us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hear that.
And then we took it on as thinking, oh, this is something that I should be doing in order to help me succeed. because that's the way it appears.
Yep.
But the opposite is true, thank God.
That's hit me hard because as I navigate this whole school and extricating myself from being in this environment, you're really nailing what to me makes the place a mental swamp, which is teachers using disapproval to motivate kids to do things.
It's the worst.
And getting that twisted.
It's the worst.
And then thinking that a loving figure disapproving me is somehow a loving thing to do.
To myself.
And then I
from
start
then
doing
on.
it to myself. Yeah.
And then I'm always feeling guilty because I'm abandoning myself. I'm punishing myself.
Yeah. It's a sickness, man. And I've been covering it. Yesterday I uncovered it really in myself, which is this part of me that got shamed by people who, in my mind, were the loving folks, just like you said.
Right.
And in the past, I'm applying my divine. I'm golden keying this right now. So I'm not even gonna exaggerate it or overdraw. I'm happy. It's on the way out right now, but I just came face to face with it yesterday, and it's actually an answer to my prayers in a way because it showed me it's on the way. It's like that debris is coming to the surface, like Mike Dugan used to say.
Yes, it's coming up and out.
It's on its way up and out. But here's the beauty of it. This is really, and I was talking to my brother. Man, I had a miraculous conversation with my brother last night who reached out in a way. I had just blessed my brother in my relationship with my two brothers. We used to be really close growing up. And, whatever, we haven't been that way. And I was just like, you know what? I remembered how much I used to just love these two guys and how important they were to me. And then out of nowhere, one of my brothers, I have two older brothers, called me, and he was a huge influence on my life. It got me into surfing, music, art, all this stuff. He was the coolest guy, and he took me under his wing, and he reached out to me for some sage advice, he called it, like the stuff that he knows I've been learning. And it was incredible how God answered that prayer and brought us back together. I was just texting with him about something we talked about. But we're going to get to the breaths. Do you want to go do the breaths?
Yeah. Also,
Someone
said this to me this week, and it was something that just dawned on him, or he saw somewhere. He goes, because this guy would always pound on himself.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with me? And see millions of therapists. I mean,
I've been
he can afford it. But I mean, he spends a lot
worse if you can afford it.
Yeah, because
I couldn't afford it, so life had to show me some other options.
Well, that's a good thing. He goes to several therapy sessions a week.
I got to tell you, you were right when I was like didn't have the money and I was paying for all that stuff, and then I met you, and you were like the perfect
therapist,
sober companion.
Well, he said this, and it's a great way to think of it. He said, I just realized, this is him going, I just realized self-criticism is a defect of character. Self-criticism is a defect of character. There's nothing good in it.
Yeah.
But him realizing that, and it was good for me there too, because that's helps.
Amazing.
It helps you go, okay, why am I even doing this? This is not healthy at all. Yeah, think of the truth that self-criticism is a defect of character.
Yes.
It's not an asset of character. It's something that needs to be.
And it's so freaking eradicated in our society in certain ways, like in the way I was telling you in schools that, I was talking to a friend of mine, a mutual friend, about working with a student, and I was talking about relaxing and blessing.
Yes.
And then there's like a devilish voice that came up. No, I like all this stress.
Yes.
There's a pride associated with self-criticism. Like let me just talk about myself. It's what has kept me stuck in the past. Because if I took out all self-criticism motivating me, the days that's what motivates me to go to school and do this job, I'd probably go like a handful of days a year. So if you look at it as like the main thing that's been motivating me to do that thing is self-criticism, there's a lot of healing that can take place there. And I'm so glad to be here for this show. Did you have something?
One last thing, and I'm glad we have our guest today. Our guest is really, she's a longtime student of A Course in Miracles, and we quote from that.
Yeah.
Often, not every show, but we
read
do.
a lot of
we
it.
read a lot of it.
Listen to it.
So there's a statement in A Course in Miracles that really is the best. I heard this 36 years ago, and it still sticks in my mind because it is I believe, the best clarification of what anger or self-criticism really is. And it's always an attempt to make someone feel guilty.
Yeah.
Even myself. When I'm getting angry with myself, it's a horrible attempt to make myself feel guilty.
Well, that's what happened to me yesterday. Is there was a meeting I needed to set up, and that person tends to inflict, throw their weight around, and has written emails about stuff and so then I bought into it, started feeling guilty, and then I started cursing the situation.
That's what happens, yes.
And then I started spiraling. Once I put my voice to the cursing, literally, then I'm driving home and I was getting out of it. I listened to this great Brian Scott show called, but it was about, what's his name? Holmes? What's Ernest?
Fenwick Holmes, his brother. Ernest Holmes' brother.
Basically, it was none of this matters, which is very in line with the Course in Miracles.
Yes.
None of this really matters. Because our divinity is never in question, or our goodness. So it doesn't, when I'm stressing over it, what I think really matters, it doesn't really matter at all. So I was getting out of that. I get a call from my principal about a parent who reached out about one of my columns because they thought it was about their kid, and it's not. And it was I got tempted to go back into guilt and anger and cursing and victimhood. But thankfully, I was just
that was an amazing one that you were able to pull yourself up out of that plane
I wanted
wreck.
to save that one for here, the live on the air, because I didn't want to I had to, it was so the feelings were but I had to just keep going back to letting go, because I realized the knife that I was it was the more I wanted to strike out, the more I was just
stabbing
myself. And it was, but this is really encouraging me about, and I'm talking to my brother last night as well about stepping out boldly and and that, because before this I had this awareness that wow, I am stepping into a place in my life where I'm getting this supercharged version of myself, because now the governor's off the engine, that self-criticism. I'm taking it off the engine. Just imagine how fun and joyful life is going to be.
It's crazy. I had a dream that goes along with this. We never know what dreams come from. It may be because we've been talking about this the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And we're going to read a few things that highlight this. Don't worry, folks. We're going to get to those breaths.
Yeah.
But it is that the whole thought is the only limits that we experience are limits we put on ourselves. So I had this dream that I had something physical, like running or something. I was having to do some running and other physical things. But for some reason, my mind let go of any limitation. And I was flying, holy mackerel. And some people who knew more or who realized this go, yeah, man, this is what it's all about. And I was wow, this is hypnosis, releasing you from this self-limited limited idea.
Yes.
And I was wow. And they're going, yeah, just think about all the other things you could do with effortlessness and ease if you would just whenever you release that part of ourselves. And that is the only limit.
You know what?
Because it's even proven in when they do hypnosis.
Yeah.
And they'll have people do things that they're normally terrified of, but now they're totally not, because that limit has been
Right.
tossed out the wind,
Totally.
tossed out of their mind.
And it's just been operating subconsciously.
Yes.
So we think it's creating reality. And then when we let it go, then a whole new reality is ours. It's funny. Talking to my principal yesterday. One positive thing came out of it, which didn't feel positive at first, which was I've been attaching my district name, like title and email to these columns. I'm like, they're not paying me or encouraging me in any way. I'm just going to put co-host and teacher of truth principles and co-host of whatever. I'm going to rewrite it. So that's it's like. It's a little bit of pearls before swine. I always thought, I'm doing such a good thing. But if people don't want me to promote it, and they're not really even standing behind me anyway, why would I do it that way? And I realized, no, this is just something that's really coming more from here than it is from there. Yes. So there's a lot like life works in mysterious ways. The more I bless
Isn't that a great kick upstairs?
Yeah, it feels so good. So
our three
it goes
breaths.
on with these breaths, man. This is like, remember we had a show once called Be Sunny and Share.
Yeah, Be Sunny, SUNNY, and Share, SHARE.
So now let's be sunny and share with our breaths, shall we?
Yeah, let me make sure I have
Take a deep breath. They may say my hair's too long. I don't care, with you I can't go wrong.
They may say my hair's too long. I don't care, with you I can't go wrong. They may say my hair's too long. I don't care, with you I can't go wrong. Babe.
I got you, babe.
And you know that's directed to yourself, folks.
We gotta, let's thank Chief Engineer Jeff Comfort out of Kansas City, Kansas, you little devil. Each week you take us
right into the comfort zone.
I got mail because then we're gonna go on a reading bender. I got mail here. If you want to send us mail, go to P.O. Box. Send it to P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California 90232. Funniest thing. Send it on over. We love to get it.
We love getting mail.
Also, let's bless and magnify and multiply those Patreon contributions.
Yes.
Thank you for contributing to this public service ministry, as we call it, because we simply share the stuff that we're practicing and learning from. It's none of this is anything we've made up. We just want to bring to you other people who are practicing it, because it doesn't matter how long you've been practicing. It's something for me and Darrell. Hearing someone else who's practicing it and sharing it resets my brain to what is a reality, because we're getting out of fear and into love, and it's kind of a full-time gig.
And joining the Patreon, you're like joining our family, because on Tuesdays we do a prosperity workshop.
Yeah.
And you start to meet the other people who are also fans of the show, and we all just become more and more together in this.
Talk about this envelope.
Okay, first of all,
Grace Deathridge sent us this from the UK.
From the UK, and she rewrote on an envelope. The envelope I sent the pictures to Indy originally said we don't know what, but she just added the word new, and now it says grown, sewn, and made with care. New thought. And on the front, she adjusted what was already there and improved it. New thoughtful people change the world. Join us at New Thought or don't.
Yes. And she also sent us a great card. It says, hope your day is great. It has a tiger on the front. Dear Darrell and Ed, I love being on the show in August. Thank you for having me. I'm happily smiling for a living here and now. Here is a book that you may like, or someone you know may like. It's called 1,000 Names for Joy, Living in Harmony with the Way Things Are by Byron Katie with Stephen Mitchell. I actually owned this book a really long time ago when I first met Darrell.
He always goes for the books that have a model on the cover, ladies and gentlemen.
That is Byron Katie, who has a website called thework.com. We've talked about those working through your thoughts, questioning your reality. Useful. It's very useful. So feel free to pass it on. Now it's yours, a book about the way. The book seems to have flowed your way. the way is the Tao is, because it talks about all the chapters of the Tao Te Ching, and then it gives a description of them. Her husband is like one of the foremost writers about the Tao Te Ching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Stephen Mitchell. Love from Grace. And it says, from May Rowland, learn to express love, become a radiating center of love, and you will find that love, the divine magnet within you, will change your whole world. Perfect for the show.
Yep.
Catherine Powell, a.k.a. the Senior Golfers of America, sent us an amazing contribution to the show this week. So thank you, Catherine. She said, Darrell and Ed, Mom and I still listen to your every episode and continue to be inspired. Thank you for all that you do. Love, Catherine Powell.
Wow, thank you.
We got a little something. Which is the one? I think this
They're
is the
all
one
good.
from this week. It says,
From Kirky.
do not kick or punch the customers. It's me. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. And it says, Darrell says, why not? And then Ed says, because it's bad for business. And if we're lucky, it says, Karen Casey says, if we're lucky, a friend reminds us that what we see and whom we attract are what we have projected. We hate hearing this because we resist being responsible for what we reap in this life. Fortunately, our friends don't shut up, nor do they go away. They too are projections. They represent our better self, whose voice is this still self.
That's a great quote.
And it's little Kirky on the bottom reading it to us.
He approves of this message.
He approves of this. There's a lot more, but we have a I believe this is
You
the
read
one
that
we got
last
in the
time.
mail.
Didn't you read that one? Last
Oh, I
time?
did. There's another
Yeah.
one floating around, but
We'll show it off. That's from
that's from Lois
Lois
Conklin.
Conklin. Yeah.
We read it last week, but there is another one somewhere. But once again, she just says, smile often, think positively, give thanks, laugh loudly, love others, and dream big, for crying out loud. Okay.
Are we going to do a quick Norman Lundy?
Yeah, hit Lundy.
We got so many things come up. I just want to say last night,
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, yesterday I did a ton of rearranging Lori's photo
cool.
studio.
Mhm.
Wait a second. It's time for mug shots.
Oh, mug shots. What do you got?
Well, first of all, thank you, Rod Schweitzer, for filling our mugs
Yes.
actually,
Our cup overfloweth.
today with Stumptown Coffee. So what's your mug, Ed?
My mug is something that I bought in a thrift store in Ventura. I originally thought it was a sloth, which I was getting into at that time, but it's some sort of a monkey, and it says, let's hang out. It was a great trip with my wife. What do you got?
This one was a gift, actually, from Stephen Tom Thorpe.
I must have got that same gift. 'Cause
I
have
think
the
he was
same mug.
I think he was clearing out his cupboard, and he had probably two of these, maybe.
Yeah, I have the same one.
And I love what it says. Actually, I can. So you get to see this every morning with my
Yep.
coffee.
And
Thank
I'm
you,
sipping
Stephen.
I'm sipping
Tom
a little pink juice out of the CHOBO mug.
Hey,
All
hey,
right.
hey.
So this is from Norman Lundy. And
So
last
good.
night, I was going to say, so yesterday I helped Lori do a lot
Yeah,
of rearranging, which shakes things up in your consciousness as well.
really
When you
does,
rearrange
yeah.
furniture, and the good and the bad, because you're enthusiastic about how everything looks and you're uncluttering. But then, like you said, in the middle of the night, this stuff comes up and out, which is a good thing, but it doesn't feel good in the moment. But if you know it's coming up and out,
Mhm.
at least it allows you to kind of get through it without dwelling on
Well,
it.
you know what I think of? It's you're seeing the same thing, and now we have a choice to. Not at first, you're going to feel that little old jolt,
Yeah.
but then we get to respond to it in a new way. And once
Yes.
we get to that point, things get better. But go ahead.
So what happened was during the course of this, like all this coming together easy. And the day before, I brought a bunch of artwork to Vivera
Oh, that's right. It
Boutique.
looks great.
So rearranging that was the day before. So all this is really good. And this is when you can't get down the devil's last ditch. Because when your mind starts moving and seeing evidence of the good that's
Yeah.
coming, that's when we're susceptible to this negative self-criticism out of nowhere. But it just means the mind is healing more and your good is, you're expanding, your good, your life is expanding. It's not a sign of contrition. The thoughts feel like contrition, like congestion, like oh no, well, I got this.
Right.
But it's just one last gasp of that old thinking in that department to throw out.
Yeah.
So I wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'm excited for today's show because we have Lisa and the topic.
Right.
And Sherry and Michael Knight are here.
Yes.
So I wake up at 3 and I try to go back to sleep. And one extra positive thing was a contractor got back to me yesterday to let me know they're going to be able to repair this gate we have, and say he's going to have 2 guys and he's just going to charge me parts and labor. Okay, fantastic. Sounds good. Do you want me to send estimates? No problem. I've worked with him many times. But for some reason at 3 a.m., and I was excited. Ooh, that's getting done next week. Well, this really is positive change. The house, the artwork.
Right.
Well, not at 3 a.m. it wasn't. At 3 a.m. it wasn't. Wait, are these two? Wait, I'm paying them for their labor. Are these guys going to take like 3 days to do a 1-day job?
Sure.
Am I going to have to watch these guys because the main guy's not going to be there?
Right.
And I'm starting to prepare for disaster.
Yeah.
Instead of preparing for good. So now I try, now it's back and forth going, no, we're going to think on the bright side. And I start feeling better, ready to fall asleep. Yeah, but this has happened in the past, Darrell.
Yeah.
And it just kept going back and forth.
Right.
And one of the things in my notes to myself, because this is all about, these are the limits that get in the way. This will work out fine. All I have to do is cooperate with these ideas. And I told myself just yesterday, this is yesterday's date, 9/15 in my book. Just yesterday, I warned myself. First of all, I said, loving myself, which is what today's show is remembering I contain a superpower of good that is activated by believing and acting as if I believe it'll work.
Yeah.
And then under that, I wrote this, no more, : it is unnecessary for me to continue to brace myself for a disaster in regards to possibility of outside obstacles, dangers, or frustrations.
I hear that.
What am I rehearsing? Because that's what I did last night.
Yeah.
Even though I wrote this, call it a premonition, I call it, God giving me the answer before I had the problem.
I had the same thing. My morning was like, it's time for me to stop feeling like I'm on trial all the time.
Yes,
and then that
it
day,
is.
was right in my face, feeling like I was on trial. So I hear you. God
All
was
right.
like, just be ready. And I didn't really listen fully, but
Okay.
all right,
I'm
let's
going to
just
read
get a reading.
I'm going to read a
before we
Lundy.
go to break.
And I should say this one quick.
No, you share that at the other side.
At the other side?
Time, yeah.
Okay. So here we go. This is from Norman Lundy. The book is called You Unlimited Through the Secret Power Within You. We highly recommend this one,
Yes.
especially if you're a newcomer to this stuff.
So good.
Yeah.
Really good. I recommend it.
And you could be an old timer to this stuff, and this one will wake you up because it's just to the point.
Yeah.
So if you have the book on page 35, and this is what we need to remember, this is the good news. Everyone has an infinite potential inherent within them. If you don't persist in suppressing it, its surging desire to express through you as your happier life, better health, more security, prosperity, love, and harmony will succeed. Whatever you desire to use this vital power for, it is always available, and its action is subject only to your own mental image. It is not influenced for you by anything outside yourself. Unless you misdirect it, the creative power of mind is naturally working for you and never against you. It is your opinion of yourself, your belief about your opportunities, your attitude towards others, your response to life in general that determine what your experience and environment will be.
Wow.
What are you rehearsing?
What are you rehearsing? And he has a great affirmation here, which says, this is on page 83, it says, I see myself as God sees me. And then we'll go to the break. I see myself as the child of God, surrounded by divine love, moving easily on the high tide of creativity through a glorious life. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I embrace this glorious life. I give its blessings to other people and observe how good comes pouring back to me. The more I give of myself, the more I am replenished. The good that I give returns 1,000-fold into my experience. This I know, and so it is. And even if we have to mechanically know it at first, it works because it's the truth of who we are, and that is principle. Coming up next, miracle-making Lisa Schmidt magnifies our good with today's reading, which is Begin. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from CHOBO Studio. Funniest Thing
with Darrell and Ed.
Darrell and Ed.
He always gets the title wrong, folks.
My bad.
My bad. All right, welcome back to Love the One You're with Lisa Schmidt. How you doing, Lisa?
Excellent. We're celebrating the Detroit Lions with a winning season.
Wow.
We're here in Michigan. We're all excited.
How many wins? Is that one game so far or what?
One game so far, but it was a doozy. And
Wonderful.
yeah.
Darrell wanted to drop in a little piece of Lundy before we get continue. What do you got? This is a powerhouse.
Yeah. This is again from that same book.
You Unlimited.
On page 85. This is it, folks. Love your selfie. Be expectant of good. Why not? You have inherited it. Enjoy a love affair with life and let the best find its way into your experience. Don't allow yourself to short circuit your good by attitudes of hate, revenge, or destruction. This is the only thing that can interfere with your divine inheritance. Know that life will give you what you are. You are what you feel. This is the law of God. Move into it to your infinite good.
Wow. That's what I experienced yesterday in a nutshell. I really have to just stay in forgiveness and blessing the school district instead of raging against the machine, which gets me further.
Yeah.
Cuts off my good.
It just cuts off our good.
Yeah.
But it's coming. The good is always there.
That's the thing. It's always coming. It's always there.
Coming, but I can short circuit it for a time for, the only the length of time I'm remaining resentful, envious, any of those negative emotions. And why it says you are what you feel is because those emotions feel bad. Yeah. So it lets us know, okay, if I'm short-circuiting my good right now, that's why it feels bad.
Yeah.
Like even those thoughts, those negative, self-critical, criticizing, preparing for disaster with what I was perceiving is going to happen with the contractors.
Yeah, it's casting ourselves as a victim. And
the key is for me to keep turning it back to, no, these guys are going to do it better than expected. Yeah. And I'm going to be going, holy cow, this is amazing.
Right. We become a blessing machine. That's when things start cooking. So, Lisa, you've been listening to the whole first segment and you've known what we're going to be talking about today. Are there some things that you'd like to share to kick off? Oh, yeah. Lisa's holding up the Course in Miracles for those of us who are listening on the podcast.
When I first started studying the Course, and this is from this particular book. There's several versions. This is from the Foundation for Inner Peace, and it's acim.org. And this is the book that we use in my class. When I started in Course in Miracles, I know you. Last time I was on here, I told you how horrible I used to think about myself. And the Course in Miracles made me realize how much I was loved and how holy we all truly are, how much God loves all of us and how holy we all are. This passage, if people don't get moved by this passage and think that they're special, then I don't know what to do. In lesson 156, which is I walk with God in perfect holiness, paragraph 4 says, There is a light in you which cannot die, whose presence is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. All the things that live bring gifts to you and offer them in gratitude and gladness at your feet. The scent of flowers is their gift to you. The waves bow down before you, and the trees extend their arms to shield you from the heat. And they lay their leaves before you on the ground that you may walk in softness, while the wind sinks to whisper round your holy head. The light in you is what the universe longs to behold. All living things are still before you, for they recognize who walks with you.
Wow.
So that is how holy we are. We are the light of God. And the Course in Miracles really drives that home, that we are the light of God. And, I'm still human, even though I've gone through my growing periods over 57 years of my life. And just the last couple of years, boy, the course is really sinking in on how we don't have to be this way, And I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, I'm done with this. I am done being unhappy. I am done being miserable in certain situations. I'm done beating myself up. I'm done being second best. I'm done this, that, and the other. And I kind of got the message, well, not kind of, I did get the message earlier this year because I was talking to Jesus and I'm like, okay, I need to do something different. Something has got to change. Jesus told me, you really need to do the course every single day. You need to do the meditations. You need to do the whole thing seriously. And of course, the resistance comes up, right? No, gosh, I don't have enough time. Some of these things require 15 minutes meditation. What are you talking about? I got to go to work,
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, how badly do you want this?
Yes.
One of the lines in A Course in Miracles is Jesus saying to the reader, how long, O Holy Son of God? How long? I'll still be here. Jesus is saying, I'll be here waiting for you, but how long is it going to take you? So I just kind of, I had to let it settle in, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Jesus is right, which I knew, right? I didn't have to tell him that. And so I have been. This year I've done the course every single day. I've done meditations every single day. And you know what lesson 2 is? Lesson 2 is I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me.
Yeah.
So everything that I
Nice.
look at, I'm assigning a judgment to it. So I can either look in that mirror and say, Lisa, you're a big fat loser and what's wrong with you? Or I can look at that mirror and say, Lisa, you holy son of God, you beautiful thing, you.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
sexy
Perfect, just
thing.
as you are.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we are all perfect exactly as we are. And for us to nitpick at ourselves is just causing misery. Stop it. Just stop it. Be vigilant only for God. Get those thoughts out of your head that are judgmental and critical, and be vigilant only for God, and replace those thoughts with love, and just love everything. Just throw love at it, whatever it may be. Forgive it.
Yes.
And my big lesson for this year is I have been forgiving everything, absolutely everything. I have been vigilant in my thoughts, and when a really something pops up that's unpleasant, it's like, okay, Holy Spirit, I'm thinking about such and such. I'm done with this. I have no use for it anymore. I want it out of my life. Please take it from me. And it usually goes. And it might pop up again. Something else might trigger it, but the feeling isn't as intense. And it's easier to, again, say, just, I need to let this go, And I have to tell you, these last 8 months of my life have been the most peaceful I have ever been, ever. Because, once you think about what you're thinking about, and you catch yourself having these thoughts, And it's like, Holy Spirit, I am done with this. I am done thinking, whatever it is I'm thinking that's holding me back from my higher good and from my peace. The Holy Spirit is right there ready to take it from you, but you got to get rid of it. You got to be willing to do that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they're beating themselves up because it's so natural. They've done it their whole lives.
Yeah.
They don't realize it.
Yeah. Yes.
And you do have to get to the point where it's like, you know what? I am sick of living this way.
It's crazy you're saying this because this morning in the middle of the night, too, I had some thoughts, some memories of things from when I was like 17, 18, that I felt I had done, that I was beating myself up over. And then this morning, I wasn't being forgiving toward myself because I'm hanging on. I'm thinking about this. And then this morning, just by coincidence, I read this definition of forgiveness from Catherine Ponder. And the whole sentence is only 6 words. And it just makes it so clear. It's forgiveness simply means to give up.
Mm-hmm.
It means just to
give
it up. I don't need to beat myself up over. It's that simple. Just to give up, to give it up.
Yeah, my previous course teacher, she said that the word forgiving, you break it down, it's forgiving to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Yes.
I
don't have to carry it around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happened this morning when I was getting sucked back into it, just like you were talking about, Lisa, this old pattern of feeling judged by the school, judging the school, like all of that, and then seeing the roots of it. And I just said, just take it, God. I'm done with it. Like, I'm really glad this was brought to my attention.
Yes.
Take it. I'm done with it. I'm going. And then I start rehearsing. Well, right now I'm just being reminded, because last week our show was, what are you rehearsing? This as simple as just shifting into, I would just like to feel better now. Like to really honestly just choose anything pleasant in that moment. I just like to feel better now. Just like to appreciate my friends now. I did this on the way to the beach the other night I was driving north of Malibu to this place, and I was talking to my buddy, and it's an amazingly uncrowded place, which is a blessing. But my buddy said, you're probably going to be surfing with some people up there because, they're getting off work. And I said, with this place, you just never know. And I just let go of that thought. I blessed it. I just said, I just want to feel good and let God do what God can do. I pulled up. This isn't a miracle. No cars. I walked down the trail. No people. I surfed for an hour and 15 minutes. Just everywhere else was windy. I drive up. Slowly the wind dies. It's just sheet glass when that water's just calm as it can be. The waves just kept getting better and better and better, like miraculous, one after the other. And it was incredible. Never saw another person except a seal. I walk out. I see 2 guys. I found one of their dog collars buried in the sand because they had 2 dogs. I almost walked away because these other people were like, oh, I don't know who that is. But I walked back because I saw these guys and their dogs, and I said, is this yours? So they were so excited. Then they had seen me surfing. They were like, that was like a dream session you just had. So that amplified the reality of what was going on. And I started getting really high. So I'm showering off. I walk to my car, I put my clothes on, and it's just after sunset. And I never do this, but I was like, I'm just going to lean on the back of my car and enjoy the view of the Malibu mountains and the sky. And I'm not going to rush back into got to get to work mode. I'm just going to stay in this like divine space. I look up, I see a jet coming over the horizon with this like glowing smoke coming from behind it. And I barely even use Instagram now, but I was like, I'm going to put that on my story. And it turns into not a jet, it's a friggin' rocket being launched out of Santa Barbara. And right when I start filming it, it disconnects from the lower rocket, and there's like a 1980s space movie pod shooting into space, which turned out to be the U.S. government is rehearsing this type of new rocket that can respond to different threats quickly.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, I just happened to lean back. Like, I'm going to enjoy the night sky. Right then, it comes over the hill, and I videotape it. And that just kicked me further into this land where, like, that Lisa's describing. I just let it all go to the Holy Spirit and just felt so loved.
But this is the self-criticizing is when we punish ourselves with the thoughts, even if they're from other people, because self-criticism is self-punishment, and telling myself rehearsing for disaster is self-criticism. By you choosing not to accept that, like, you may say my hair is long, you know what I mean? But I don't care. With you, I can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So, but then, and our reality reflects it. Thursday, Stephen Tom Thorpe was going to help me because I had a bunch of paintings to bring to Jennifer's shop, Vivera Boutique.
In Playa del Rey. If you're ever down in Playa del Rey, Vivera Boutique. I got to see the work, by the way. It looks amazing in there right now. And then there's vintage clothes and the vintage material. My wife makes hats and bags, and it's beautiful.
So,
candles.
But folks, I'm going to warn you, there is very limited parking. So that can be a problem if you prepare for limited parking. So the day we went,
yes, bless it.
We got lots of things, and there's only one entrance. There's very few spaces in front. And the thought is, okay, starting to scheme. I'll park here, then Steve could try to park there. And I said, ugh. So we ate, and then we were going to go to Vivera because we got there early. So Steve goes ahead and he's reporting to me on his phone. He goes, I don't know. I don't think there's any. Oh, wait, there's someone pulling out. They just picked up their dog. There's a spot. And he apparently pulls in and we hang up. And now I'm going, well, should I try to park there or should I just park in a lot, that's like 100 yards away? And I go, that feeling of preparing for disaster, this limited idea. I said, no, you know what? There's going to be the perfect spot. I pull up. Now, Steve is parked. His spot turned out to be right in front of the entrance, which we needed to bring this stuff in and out. And then I see right behind him, now there's an opening. And I'm thinking, my doubting mind still wanted to criticize and go, is my car going to fit in there? And I hear it loudly go, Darrell, that's more than enough room for your car. And I pulled right in. But this is showing exactly what we read in Norman Lundy, exactly why it's important to do what Lisa just read to us, is we get really what we rehearse, what we anticipate. And the joy, it never gets old. And the joy is seeing, holy cow, this stuff is for real all the time.
Right.
We're always only in our own universe, like that quote you read.
Yes.
We're always getting the reflection of what we believe about ourselves.
Right.
And ourselves include our circumstances. I just spent a long time preparing for disaster as a kid, that it became a bad habit. But it's not a reality. Actually, it's a detriment.
Yeah.
Darrell, you were saying earlier about how you were absorbing what other people had said about you as a kid. And, as you grew up, you started believing things that it's just because other people said that about you, and we still do that as adults. We're very sensitive to criticism of others and, people yelling at us in the parking lot about the cars.
Yes.
And I just love that lady's story from last week. Anyway. Anyways, but the course, once you start studying the course and you start realizing that everybody's projecting their own guilt and shame onto everybody else. And so, if you could just stop when somebody says something to you or does something to you, you don't go down that road of, oh, I'm a horrible person, of all the shame and the guilt and this person doesn't like me, and have that little shame spiral going. The course will teach you in time, as you practice it, to stop after a certain point, because you still do it, but then you can stop yourself and say, wait a minute, that's their thing, that's them projecting upon me.
Yes.
And it's a call for love.
Yes.
And so that's when you send the person love. You pray for them, send them some blessings, let it go, forgive it, and wish that person well and send them on their way. One of the things that the course teaches is that eventually you will just start having these things come to you, thoughts in your head, and you just stand back and watch them float by and say, "Oh, that was interesting." Let it go and
Yes.
latch onto it. Don't grab it. Just let it
go.
pass on by. And it's fabulous once you start learning. That's where the peace comes in. When you don't start absorbing all that stuff.
You are inspiring me, Lisa. I wrote down this one thing for myself because this is the most leverage I found in related to it's the mother who is offended, like has this certain end, whatever, this dynamic. And I've been blessing it. This morning I said, I'm ready to let it go. And you talking, I just wrote down I just see myself blessing them in my meditation. Yes. I don't know what you're beating yourself up about, but it's got nothing to do with me. I love you. That's right. And then ending with, I love you. Yes. I don't know what you're beating yourself up about, but it's got nothing to do with me. I love you. And just
that's right.
Bless it.
Well, this is the thing. A few weeks ago, I was in Santa Barbara. I just want to put this out there because the feeling in the moment can cause my reluctance to let go of it as quickly as I ought to for my own benefit. So last week I'm in Santa Barbara, and Rod Schweitzer joined me. We went to Unity of Santa Barbara a few weeks ago, and it was fantastic. Kathy Norman gave a talk, and afterwards we're going to eat in beautiful downtown Santa Barbara. Not a cloud in the sky. And I'm walking, and there's one of the streets, Main Street, I believe, is now a pedestrian street. There's no cars on it.
State Street.
That's it. Thank you. State Street is no more vehicle traffic. It's for pedestrians and bicycles. So it's like a giant mall. But at some intersections, the perpendicular streets are still thoroughfares. Mm-hmm. So there's a red light. And I am walking parallel to one of those streets, crossing State Street, which is the pedestrian street. And coming down the street towards us, towards where the light is red, allowing the perpendicular street the right of way, there's a young man and I guess his girlfriend or wife on their bicycles coming towards us. And I'm walking with Rod, and we're high as kites. And so I waved to the guy because we're going to be walking right in front of him as he's making his approach to slow down. So I wave and smile, and he goes, "I'm not stopping for you, bro. I'm stopping for the light." And I was like, ugh.
Oh my God.
And the sad thing is, part of me wanted to should I just knock him off his bike? Because he has really nothing. He's not on ground. I could easily just go whammo and go, oops. That's real. And this is why, folks, because in that moment, the feeling is my own feeling. I start feeling inadequate and weak. That's the first bad thought to have. Right. So now I want to punish. But just like you said, here's the good news, Lisa. At least now I don't react. I don't say anything else. I'm still walking away. My feelings went into I'm inadequate, I'm weak. I should have fucking clocked them, which is not the right thing to do. And it would no good comes out of that response for anyone. And I'm eating with Rod, and because not identifying this feeling of weakness and inadequacy, I'm taking that on. That's really not the reality. But it's almost like I'm taking it on like I'm inadequate. I should know. See, I'm trying to do something. Just horrible thoughts. And I'm eating and we're talking about positive things. And then those bad feeling of inadequacy. It's like, but I had to persist.
Yes.
I had to persist. And the thing that works is the method of trying to understand, well, he's in pain, that's on him. That doesn't help. I mean, this helps some people quickly. For me, the thing that worked, that doesn't work quickly for me. Like, oh, they're in pain. Because like my New Jersey T-Rex will pop in and go, good, well, he should be in pain the way he treats people. That doesn't work for me. But what does work for me is just start praying for them. Pray for them to be happy. Pray for that. Like in my mind, I'm not telling you, I don't go, oh, I'm praying for you. No, nothing. Within my mind, just pray for him to be happy.
Yeah.
Pray for him to be happy. And it helps unlock it from my gut.
Yes.
That's the key. It unlocks it from the gut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to remember the ego always speaks first.
Yeah.
The ego speaks first. And once you recognize that that's the ego getting you riled up, you can just push the ego out of the way.
Yeah. Because when you described it, the real first thought was him feeling weak and inadequate. Because he had the Johnny Rotten cover up. He felt embarrassed that vulnerability of you just waving and joyously, and then he didn't feel worthy of that, and he tried to protect and he like that. It's amazing. And
I mean, later on, I'm thinking, God, what does his girlfriend think?
I know. I've blessed the whole thing.
Because I was old enough to be this guy's father, and I'm like, what does she think? Like this old man is waving joyfully, and I'm not stopping for you. I'm stopping for the light.
That's a Johnny Rotten cover. That's Jim Morrison not being able to hit the high notes and then destroying the set.
Oh my God, we've all been there.
I know.
Another one of my lessons of forgiveness towards myself is I work in a situation where people can evaluate, my customers can evaluate my service through a survey. And I wasn't getting any responses, and they couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting any responses and whatever. But I mean, like, I just wasn't. And I'm like, and so finally I said to Jesus, I'm like, okay, why am I not getting any responses on these surveys? I mean, nothing. And Jesus says, well, do you do it for other people when surveys come through for people who've served you? I'm like, well, no. So I guess if I have to get love, I need to give love, right? I have to think about that. I'm like, well, okay, I guess if I gave a little bit more love in that respect, that love would come back to me. Oh, that's a concept right there.
Right. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. Darrell, you want to share something from me about your...
Okay, this is... I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm going to share this because... This came up after I do my morning routine. You might get ready with this thing just in case.
This is one more amazing thing that came out of New Jersey.
Yeah, there's one more amazing thing that came out of New Jersey.
We're always learning through Darrell.
Well,
either you're the ultimate making stuff up, or New Jersey is a lot better place.
Unfortunately,
than people give it credit for.
I can't make up as much as I used to because now that Google came along. But listen, so. Every morning after I do my morning routine, and one of the things I'll do is I'll just draw in my pad with no idea of what I'm going to draw. I'll just start making a line,
right?
And then I go, ooh, and I'll let the intuition turn it into something. So this was just 2 days. Today's the 6th. This was just yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So just yesterday morning, we know the show's coming up. So the topic's in my mind, in my subconscious. So I start drawing, and it turns out that it's going to be the Statue of Liberty, right? So there we have the Statue of Liberty, and she's looking. I just started with the face, and I go, I don't know, it's turning into the Statue of Liberty, but just go with it. I just go with whatever it is. Oh, she's looking down at her right foot. And then I started getting excited about the symbolism in the Statue of Liberty. And you could use this as a personal symbol to inspire you and motivate you in loving yourself. Because I don't know if you know this, but the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. She is walking forward, and it's clearly indicated because her right foot is elevated, getting ready to move and to step forward. And I realized that liberty, the definition could be summed up for me as the only real security lies in adventure. That's liberty. Standing still is oppression, and that's why there's broken chains at our feet. Standing still is oppression, remaining in my comfort zone. The great news is when we step forward with that faith, and that's why she has a torch in her hand. Whenever we step forward or step out boldly, providence will illuminate our way. We will be immune from harm when we move forward. But what's the book represent? Well, on the book she's holding is the date of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We have to make a personal commitment, like you were talking about. You know, we have to make a personal commitment. How long does this take? As soon as I commit to I am going to move forward with faith, well, then it also represents the commitment America made on that date. And the book represents or symbolizes an apostle of freedom. We're free when we move forward with faith. And what happens when we move forward with faith? Well, she has a crown. We're crowned with favor. We are crowned with favor. God blesses our bold enterprises. And on the crown is 7 points. They represent the 7 continents and the 7 seas, meaning that this way of living works for everyone. Isn't that incredible? And that's the Statue of Liberty. And it also is the most, ironically, the most recognized symbol of America in other countries. If you say, what's the symbol of America? The first thing 9 out of 10 people in other countries are going to say is Statue of Liberty. They're not going to say the eagle. They're not going to say the dollar. They're not going to say the Capitol. They're not going to say. They're going to say Statue of Liberty. So it's an incredible spiritual thing that we have right here, and you could use it as your personal tool to keep moving forward. Stop criticizing yourself. Make a declaration of freedom for yourself. Freedom from self-criticism. That's the oppression and the chains you'll break free from. You'll move forward, and as you're moving forward, you're going to be, providence just means divinely guided. You'll be divinely guided.
Right. And it's an inner dependence, right?
It's an inner.
Yeah, that independence. Is an inner dependence.
And
there's God within us all.
Little bit of trivia. I told Ed this morning. What state do you think the Statue of Liberty is in?
Oh, I know the answer because you said it.
Go ahead, say it.
It's in Jersey.
Yes.
That's right. The New Jersey.
It's actually in New Jersey. It's on that side of the border.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap up. Do we want to read? Did you want to say something before, and then we can read the Daily Word and wrap the show
Well,
up?
I just wanted to say real quick, a real good way of forgiving oneself, if you want, because like last time I was on, we were talking about Louise Hay mirror work.
Yes.
You know, if you look in the mirror, the Hawaiians, there's a traditional Hawaiian forgiveness called Ho'oponopono.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. And you don't have to get it in that order, however you say it is fine. But you know, I had some health issues come up that were my own fault, that were controllable, and I knew that, but until I got a diagnosis, that it was like, okay, I got to change my lifestyle here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was really mad at myself. And I came home from the doctor, and I looked in the mirror, and I said, Lisa, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. We're going to fix this, you know?
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're feeling shame or guilt about something, just look in the mirror and say that. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you can do that for any situation. Any
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
And it's a very quick, simple thing.
You know,
Yeah.
Darrell said one thing, by the way, which was you mentioned the comfort zone, which you never use. And so I was like, what is the origin? And actually, this is why I don't like it. The comfortere is Latin word, which means to strengthen greatly. To strengthen.
Oh.
So I want to be in that zone. What I don't want to
Right.
be in is the stagnant zone.
That's the word. Yes.
It's like where like you didn't
That's
take
the
you didn't
word.
take action
Yes.
on something, or I didn't take I got
Yes.
stuck in something. It's more like a stuck zone. It's more
Yes.
of a stagnant zone. But I like being comforted,
Yes.
getting strengthened greatly, being loved, being
Wait.
kind to myself.
Wait, do you want to know how crazy this
Yeah.
is? I should know better, folks, because this morning, look what I wrote in my book.
Comfort, a feeling of freedom from worry or disappointment. That's exactly right. So
Oh.
feel free to lounge in your comfort zone.
No, yeah, but don't lounge.
In the
Take it from the
stagnant zone.
Statue of Liberty. In order for her to be victorious and living in liberty, she is moving out of her stagnant zone.
Or if you're on YouTube, you can see our logo, which is same thing. Step out boldly, like our friend here on the screen.
yes.
The thing about begin again is, that's of course teaching too. Every time you think you've done something, just choose again. Choose again. Choose again. So if you're thinking those judgment
Yes.
thoughts or critical thoughts, choose again. Begin again. Start again.
Oh.
Every moment. If you read, my boyfriend's real big on Eckhart Tolle, and Eckhart Tolle is all about the now, living in the now.
Mhm.
And they're only the now. So if your now is goofed up, your next now can start again.
Yeah.
I used one thing the other day, Lisa. Something upset me, and I was in the bathroom, and I remembered the quote, the biblical quote, where Jesus says, "Behold, I make all things new." And I
Yeah,
was in the
there you go.
restroom,
Mhm.
and someone did something that jarred me, and to choose again, instead of saying that, I just went, "Behold, I make all things new," and it to really jump me into a new
Yes.
thought, a fresh new thought of the situation that wasn't derogatory in any way.
Next week's
Behold, I
show.
make all things new.
Next week's show
Yeah.
could be called Begin Again with Sammy Smith. He's coming
Yes.
on. Okay.
Okay. So,
All right.
oops. I have it. I just have to bring it up here. Okay. Each day is an opportunity to begin again. I'm going to say each moment is an opportunity to begin again.
Yes.
Just as the sun rises on the new day, a light dawns within me as I begin anew. My past is behind me. Not bound by my mistakes or regrets, I take the best of what I learned and leave the rest. My future is ahead of me, mine to shape according to my highest hopes and dreams. I say yes to opportunities that call me. I pay attention to my passions and those things that kindle my zeal and enthusiasm. These nudges from spirit encourage me to live in the highest expression of myself as a divine being, a beloved child of God. I am in the precious present now. I leave hesitation behind. One with God and at peace with myself, I am ready for every good thing as I begin again. And from John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Nice.
Ah.
Great.
Choose again.
Well,
My previous course teacher was a IT guy, and he'd always say, reboot,
Yes, I like that.
Yes.
Reboot.
reboot.
reboot. So, thank you for rebooting our operating system today, Lisa.
Absolutely.
Oh.
We will talk to you again. Every time we see you, you shine brighter, laugh louder, and make
Yes.
us feel better. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Give
you
our
guys
love-
are great.
Give our love to everyone. What is it? Unity of Lansing? Where are you guys going?
Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing.
Yeah.
Yep, and unitylansing.org. And again, if anybody wants to learn about the Course in Miracles, it's acim.org. Or if they want to join my class, they would do it on Zoom, unitylansing.org. And there's a link out there under the classes link.
Oh,
for the
that'd be
Zoom.
awesome.
Wonderful. I'm sure there's people who are.
Thursday nights at 7.
So that would be what time ours?
That's
Indeed.
4 o'clock.
p.m. Yeah.
4 p.m. Okay.
4 o'clock.
It's
Well,
the
you
same
know-
time as Nancy Norman's.
Okay.
Oh, well, you got options.
format.
Get
Yeah, you got
Course in
options,
Miracles, prosperity, whatever you like. But the other thing, Lisa, you were telling Darrell and Ed earlier about all the times that you stepped out boldly in your life. I remember you were chuckling when you told us about a time you started a dating service for chickens. And Darrell and Ed replied,
That sounds amazing. Why'd you stop?
I remember Lisa shrugged.
They flew the coop.
Well, what you said the last time was,
I was struggling to make hens meet.
well, Darrell, won't you put your tiny hand in mine? There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb. Babe, I got you, babe.
Visit
I
Darrell.
got you, babe.
Visit DarrellandEd.com to
Mike
find
and
easy links to
Sherry,
everything
come
we
into
do.
the studio, will you?
Get in the picture. Get in the frame.
Come on. Where are they? Where are they?
They're on their pilgrimage. They're coming. They're coming. Keep singing. Keep singing. Here we go. Here we go.
Put your tiny hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain they can't climb. Babe,
I got you, babe. I got you, babe. I got you, babe. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Lisa, thank you so much.
Oh my God.
You shared so
appreciate
much
it.
stuff I could use and I'm going to use. It
Sherry said
reminded
you
me
were-
of so much.
Great.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad.
Wasn't she great?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
I hope so.
Yes.
All right.
I listen to you every week, so
Well, thank you.
Oh.
We love you.
Thank you so much.
We love
Lisa.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
$500.
Really?
See, $200 for you, sir.
$100 for you.
$100 for you. No way. Are you serious? Yeah, I'll give you 100. Let's see what's on there. Of course. Thank you so much.
When you record your podcast at CHOBO Studios, you're helping people in need. Here at CHOBO, we take a bold stance on helping the community by giving away 10% of all revenue, not just profit, to kind, hardworking people in the streets of Los Angeles. And thanks to all these wonderful podcasters, we've been able to give $1,400 this year alone through our kindness initiative, CHOBO Kindness. Brought to you by CHOBO Studios, LA's premier podcasting powerhouse. Follow for more.